Welcome. Come a little closer. I'm Evangeline Moss, and tonight the cypress trees are still, and the candlelight is low. Out here, the air is thick with stories, the kind that drift through the moss and settle softly around you. So, rest your eyes, listen closely, and let the swamp tell you a story. They say there's a part of the swamp that doesn't belong to time. Not fully. Not anymore. You won't find it on a map. Not the real one. There's a bend past Cypress Bend Road, past where the gravel thins out and the trees start to lean in closer than they should. Past where the frogs go so quiet. That's how you know you're close. Silence. Not the peaceful kind. Not the kind that lets you breathe. No. This silence listens back. I didn't believe any of what they first said when I heard it. Stories like that often come from someone's grandmother, or someone who swears they saw something when they were half asleep and too close to dark. And maybe that's all it ever was. Until I went looking for it. It started with a photograph. Old, curled at the edges, tinted that strange sepia color that makes everything feel like it's already halfway forgotten. I found it in a box that didn't belong to me. The house I moved into came with things the previous owners never came back for. Boxes in the attic, dishes in the cabinets, a coat still hanging by the door like someone was meant to return before the weather changed. But the photograph, that felt different. It wasn't tucked away. It was sitting right on top, like it wanted to be found. It showed a woman standing in water, barefoot, wearing a wedding dress that looked too clean for where she stood. The swamp water should have stained it, pulled it down, torn at the hem. But it hadn't. The fabric floated just above the surface, like the water refused to touch her. Her face, that's what stayed with me. Not because it was clear, because it wasn't. The longer you looked, the harder it was to remember what she looked like at all. Like your mind kept slipping off her. Like something inside you didn't want to hold on to it. Except for one thing. Her eyes. Even in the photograph, you could tell she was looking at the person holding the camera. Not smiling. Not sad. Just waiting. On the back of the photograph, written in faded ink, were 6 words. She waits where we left her. I should have thrown it away. I didn't. Because once you see something like that, it doesn't sit in your mind. It roots. That night I dreamed of water. Not drowning, not struggling, just standing still, like I was where I was supposed to be. Weeks went by and I forgot. And then there was the first night that I heard the singing. I thought it was the wind, soft and low, drawn out like a hymn someone forgot to finish. It came through the trees just after midnight. I had the windows open. That was my first mistake. The air started to smell like wet earth and something older, something that had been sitting too long, waiting too long. The sound drifted in slow, almost gentle, but there was something wrong with it. Not the melody, the direction. It didn't feel like it was coming from outside. It felt like it was moving towards me, like it already knew where I was, like it had always known. I stood there longer than I should have, listening, trying to decide if it was real, trying to convince myself it wasn't. And then it stopped. Not faded, stopped. Like someone had noticed I was listening and decided that was enough for the night. I didn't sleep. Not really. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw water and something just beneath it. Not moving, but aware. The next morning, the photograph had changed. At first, I thought it was light, the angle, something explainable. But when I held it closer, there were now ripples around her feet. Subtle, but new. And the water. And the water. It wasn't still anymore. And behind her, something darker. Just beneath the surface. The ink on the back had bled slightly, as if it had gotten wet. I asked her around that day, not directly. You don't ask questions like this directly in a place like this. You ease into them at the diner, at the gas station, between small talk and silence. Most people didn't say much, but they didn't laugh either. That's how you know something is real. When no one wants to be the one to say it out loud. It was an older woman who finally said something. She didn't look at me when she said it either. Just kept stirring her coffee like she'd done thousands of times before. Slow, circular, endless. Some things out there, she said. They don't like to be remembered wrong. I asked her what she meant, and she stopped stirring, just for a second. Then she said, means if you go looking, you better be ready to remember it right. I should have stopped there. I didn't. Because here's the truth that no one tells you. It's not just curiosity that pulls you in. It's recognition. Like some part of you already knows the way. Like something is calling you by the name you don't remember having. As I was driving home that day after talking to the old woman, I saw a clearing that wasn't there before. I parked my car, got out, and decided to follow it. The path wasn't marked, but it didn't need to be. As I continued, the trees started to change. That was the first sign. Cypress trunks rising out of the water like something froze mid-step. Spanish moss hanging low enough to brush onto your shoulders and linger there like fingers. The ground, if you can call it that, soft beneath your feet. Too soft. Like it didn't want to hold you. Like it was deciding whether to. The deeper I went, the quieter it got. No insects, no birds, no wind. Just silence. That same listening silence, pressing in all around. And then the circle. You don't see it all at once. You feel it. Like stepping into a room where something just ended. Or something is about to begin. The trees curved inwards. Perfect and unnatural. Too deliberate to be anything else. And the water? Still. Too still. Like glass. Like memory. That's where I saw her. Not in the distance. Not emerging. She was already there. Standing in the center. Barefoot. Just like the photograph. The dress untouched. The veil drifting, though there was no wind. And her eyes were on me. She had been waiting for this exact moment. "You're late," she said. Her voice didn't echo, didn't carry. It landed right where it should. My feet were already in the water. I don't remember stepping forward, but I remember the cold. And I remember looking down. Footprints. Dozens of them. All leading in. None leading out. Except one. Half-formed. At my feet. Still filling in. "You shouldn't have come alone," she said. and something in the trees shifted. Not movement, but awareness. Like the swamp itself had leaned closer, listening, watching, recognizing. The water rose slightly around my ankles, not from the actual movement of ripples, but from presence. You came because you remembered, she said softly. My mouth moved before I could stop it. Remember what? She tilted her head, and just for a moment, her face became clear. Not unfamiliar, not entirely, just enough to feel wrong. You left me here, she said. The words didn't feel like an accusation. They felt like a correction. The air all of a sudden thickened, heavy, close, like the breath against the back of your neck. And that's when I saw it. The shapes beneath the water, not reflections, people, standing just like her. Dozens of them, their heads tilted slightly upwards, as if they were all looking at me from below, and their eyes open, waiting. The footprints weren't all the same. Some were deeper, some were smaller, some not shaped like feet at all. You don't leave, she said. Not angrily, not pleading, just certain. Like a rule. Like something had already been decided long before I arrived. The water climbed higher, up to my knees, my thighs. Cold, but not empty. And something brushed up against my leg. Slow, curious. The trees leaned in closer, not with the wind, with intention. Closing. You stay, she said. And behind her, the figures beneath the water began to rise. Not breaking the surface, just getting closer. Like they were remembering how. I don't remember screaming. I don't remember running. I only remember her hand reaching out, and how wrong it looked beneath the surface. Longer than it should have been. Bending where it shouldn't. And then, dark. I woke up on my porch. The light above me, steady, not flickering, not breathing, just on. Like nothing had ever been wrong. My clothes were soaked, and my feet were covered in mud that didn't dry, no matter how long I stood there. The photograph was still in my hands, and this time There were more footprints behind her, closer, almost touching. And in the water, I could see them clearer now. All of them, all standing, all waiting, and one at the very front looked exactly like me. The candle is burning low now, and the swamp has grown quiet. If you're still awake, there's always another story waiting for you here. Sleep well, and I'll be right here when you return.